Welcome to RajaReads. I'm Masood Raja, and on this channel, I introduce you to books from different parts of the world and occasionally also talk to you about different kinds of reading strategies. Today, I will be introducing you, even though it doesn't need an introduction, to one of the best science fiction novels or novellas that I've read in a long time, and that is Nnedi Okorafor's Binti. Okay, Binti, it's a novella, and the most beautiful thing about it is that it won both a Hugo and a Nebula Award. These are the two highest awards in science fiction. One is given for short stories, the other is given for novellas and novels. Now, Binti is also now one of a trilogy, so it's the first novel of a trilogy. And it is also considered part of the tradition of Afro Futurism. Like if you remember, the novels of Octavia Butler and all, those were the beginning point of sort of the Afro Futurism, a future seen, imagined, and articulated by African American authors with dominant African identities or African American identities or African American experiences. So this is within that domain. Now, as a novella, this is pretty short. I mean, you can probably read it in 1 hour, right? But that doesn't mean that the story is pretty simple and that you won't come back and think about it, right? So the main character, and I'm not going to pronounce her full name, she is Binti, right? And she is from the Himba people from the earth, which is based in the historical Himba people, right? Now remember, our author, Okorafor, is the daughter of two African immigrants to United States. And if I read her bio, she is pretty versatile. She teaches creative writing at University of New York at Buffalo, and her parents were both Nigerian immigrants. So the novella tells us the story of Binti, who is from a desert tribe. They come from this insular tribe, a tribe that is self-contained. They are all mathematicians, they are scientists. Her father develops what are called the astrolabes, which everyone needs in this universe. And she is a gifted harmonizer. She can harmonize the atoms of different elements. That's her trade that she has inherited and also mastered. And she's a master mathematician. And as we start reading the novel, she has been selected on merit to this prestigious sort of a galactic university, right? And no one from her tribe has ever gone to this university. No one from her people has ever gone to this university. And it's called Omza University, right? And her entire family is opposed to her going because they want her to take her traditional role as the harmonizer and inherit the business from her father. But in the beginning of the story, we are in her mind, and she has decided to leave her tribe and travel to the university to study further. So the novel starts with sort of a defiance of the local custom. And then she gets on a ship. What we also learn is that the ships are organic, right? They are developed from life forms, and those of you who have seen some TV shows like Farscape and others in which we had the living ship, it's kind of in the same tradition. And she stands out because she's the only one of her kind. Her people are, of course, dark, but they also cover their bodies in this mixture that they make out of clay and oils, and their hair. So we already know that she's being looked at as strange, right? Because the Kush people, the dominant group, don't really respect her people, but they have never seen a person like that traveling, across the galaxy to go and study. So immediately we are privy to her alienated experience, right? But she's fairly young, right? And she makes friends. And as they are traveling in this ship and as she's getting to know all the people, and this is an educational ship because the university has already appointed professors and others who are training these young people while they are on their way to the university. Won't we like to have universities like that over here? Is when the ship is invaded. And the ship is invaded by a belligerent species who are called Meduse, right? And they are these non-human creatures. They have tentacles and all. And they pretty much kill everyone. She's the only one who survives, and Binti survives because of two things: because of the substance that she puts on her body that protects her, and a small talisman that she had found in the desert. Somehow protects her from the attackers, but also helps her communicate with them. So then the story is about her negotiation with these people who are very warlike. They are on a mission to the same planet where her university is to retrieve something valuable that they have lost. I'm not going to name it, you will read it. And she also connects with one of them. And she convinces their chief that instead of invading that planet to retrieve what they have lost, she could be the negotiator. And that's when she gains their trust. And as they land on that planet, these invaders, they are warriors, they could destroy that city, but they trust her to represent them. And that's when she goes and negotiates. And negotiates a successful resolution to the problem so that their valuable item is returned. And they, in turn, then, for the first time in their recent history, actually talk to humans and leave one of them to study at the university. So by the end of the novel, she has averted this huge galactic disaster through her diplomacy, but she has also changed physically. She's not the same person that she was. And that is her struggle, right? Can she go back to her planet? And if she does, her people are wary of outsiders. And she has become not just psychologically, but also physically an outsider, right? And you have to read that and you'll find out how and why. I'm not going to spoil it for you. And that's where the story ends, when she's trying to connect to her family through her astrolabe, right? And it's her mother who replies, right? That's where the story ends. Now, as I said, there are 2 sequels to the novel. I have not read them yet, but this novel is making me go and find them and read them. I would also like to thank my friend and my student Anum, who gave me this book to read yesterday, and I just finished it within a couple of hours. I just couldn't put it down. So if you like science fiction, which is also slightly fantastical, and a science fiction in which an author creates a world imagined, told to us from the experience of an African character, a young female African character, a future world, and in which the African characters are not necessarily exoticized or mythologized. She's there because she is one of the master mathematicians, right? Math to her is like poetry, right? And if you want to start this journey with Binti, with the first novel, and then follow the sequels, I highly recommend it. Now, if you're a scholar of postmodernism, sci-fi, Afrofuturism, this might be a series that you might want to read, write about, and maybe include in your dissertation or in your master's thesis, right? This could be one of those series. Very easy to read, but deals with very complex trans-species issues as represented from the consciousness of an young African female from Earth traveling the stars to study the most advanced scientific studies of math and physics and everything else. So that's all I have to say about the book. I do highly recommend it. Please check it out, read it, and let me know what you think. If you've already read it, share your comments. What did it make you feel? Did you like it? If you liked it, what did you like about it the most? I would love to hear your views. I will now come back with, some other story or some other novel or book that I would like to talk about. Until then, take care, stay safe, take care of each other, and as always, from me to you, peace and love.